Sir, I want to take you back to 2010.
Yes.
How to Train Your Dragon, beloved by audiences around the world. What do you think audiences related to about that film?
Oh boy, I think it starts with just the fact that it's a really good story. I think it's a really beautiful world filled with rich characters, and it's about something. And it's a movie that rewards you sticking around to the end. And I also, I think that it's got a great deal of escapism in it, and that we were able to transport people to a world they hadn't seen. I like to think we did what Avatar was trying to do.
Tell me about the relationship between Hiccup and Toothless.
They complete each other. They're both these outcasts. They're both these weird things. Toothless, as far as we know, is the only Night Fury there, and Hiccup, the least Viking of the Vikings, and so, I think each of them on their own mean a bit less, but together they form a really special hero, and I think it speaks to one of those relationships that you can get with an animal that you can't get with a person, which transcends words, has nothing to do with words. It is just pure emotion and loyalty and love, and I think anyone that's ever had a pet they really love really gets it.
Tell me about how the relationship between Hiccup and Astrid has evolved in this second film.
Well, they're sort of their relationship's a bit more lived in. There's no more kind of skirting the issue. They've addressed the elephant in the room, so it seems, and they complement each other. Hiccup is reason, and Astrid is action, and Astrid is the Viking that Hiccup's dad wishes he could be. But I think the sort of opposites attract, and they have each other's back.
Dean has said that you are Hiccup. Do you agree? And if so, what are the similar on-screen characteristics that you see between
Definitely,
you two?
I agree. Just because I know what it is to be something of a, I don't like to use the word outcast, but maybe different than the average person in the neighborhood you were born into. Different than your father, and maybe not super. Maybe you don't want to do what he wants you to do. My dad, for example, I know that he was a pretty tough dude, and all he wanted was for me to play hockey like he did, and I just wanted to read and write and make up crazy worlds in my head, so I just at every step of the way I'm channeling something very specific from my life.
The audience experiences much of the story through Hiccup and through his emotions. What are the challenges in conveying those emotions solely through your voice and in the recording booth?
Yeah, well, it's just sort of it forces you to relearn acting to a certain degree, because it made me realize how much I used my mannerisms and my expressions as a crutch. I'll just say they're crutches, but then once you got past that, there was something really pure and exciting about focusing just on the words and trying to make them come to life as much as possible. So now, 7 years in, I can say I actually prefer it. I prefer this. It makes much more sense. It's much better. It's much better for me as well. I don't have to wear makeup. I don't have to be in front of hot lights for 14 hours a day. I get to come in Montreal often, or and record for an hour and a half, 2 hours every month or so. And at the end of 3 years, I'm part of this wonderful project. Yeah, I adore it. If we're up to me, this is all I'd ever do.
Tell me what it's like working with the director, Dean DuBois.
I mean, Dean, it can't be overstated enough that he's not just one of the greatest artists working in movies, he's one of the greatest artists working, period. And he's one of the world's great storytellers. And he comes from this, he inherits this pure Homeric tradition of just giving these beautiful sagas, these beautiful quests, and he's such a compassionate man that you can't help but feel his love for the world and love for people and love for everything in every character. He's also a Star Wars and comic book nerd, and so the movies function as great action movies as well, and also he's another Quebec boy like me, and so I was so proud of him last night. The two of us up there, it was really, really cool.
Very impressive.
I agree. Thanks, bud.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Likewise.